Hello and welcome back to English Classes Online. I am your host Benjamin, and today we are diving into the bedrock of English, which is sentences. We are going to look at how best to learn English sentences because the sentence is the unit of grammar that is meant for communicating our ideas in both spoken and written English. So, we are going to look at how best to learn English sentences. Whether you are just starting out or moving up to the intermediate level, this lesson will be useful to you. By the end of the lesson, you will be able to build sentences and use them with confidence. So, let's dive right in. Let's start with the basic question. What is a sentence? Now, first, we have to look at a sentence as a complete thought. A sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete, coherent thought. If it is incomplete, it is not a sentence, it is just a fragment. A sentence has a structure and is made up of some core components. Every functional sentence requires at least two essential elements: a subject, which is who or what is performing the action or who is being talked about. And then the second component is a verb, which expresses the action or the state of being. A sentence should have clarity and cohesion. That's really important as well. Sentences can vary from short to highly complex, but the requirement for a clear, complete thought always remains consistent, which means a sentence must make a clear and complete thought. And this is really what makes a sentence what it is. Let's look at an example. She runs is made up of these two essential components. The subject here is she, and the verb is runs. She runs. Now, we are going to look at four sentence types by purpose, defining communication intent. Sentences are classified or categorized according to the function they serve in communication. The first sentence type is the declarative sentence. This type of sentence makes a statement or expresses an opinion, and it ends with a period or a full stop. For example, I love English and I practice every day. I love English and I practice every day. This makes a complete thought and it makes a statement. It expresses my opinion. I love English and I practice every day. That's a declarative sentence. Number two, we have the interrogative sentence. This type of sentence asks a direct question requiring a response and ending with a question mark. For example, do you speak English fluently yet? Do you speak English fluently yet? That question mark shows it is a question. That's what we call an interrogative sentence. The word interrogate means to ask a question. Number 3, imperative. An imperative sentence gives a command, instruction, or a request. The subject you is often implied. It is hidden. For example, please open the grammar book to page 10. Please open the grammar book to page 10. So you are giving an instruction here, and you may be addressing the class. Please open the grammar book to page 10. The next one, which is the fourth one, is the exclamatory sentence. This type of sentence expresses strong emotion, surprise, or excitement, ending with an exclamation point. I need to add at this point that an imperative sentence may also be added with an exclamatory mark, depending. It could be a full stop ending the imperative, or it could be an exclamation mark, depending on the kind of emotion you are putting into that command. But the exclamatory sentence expresses strong emotion, surprise, or excitement, and ends with an exclamation point. For example, what a beautiful day to study. What a beautiful day to study. This brings us to 4 sentence types by structure. Let me explain briefly here that sentences in English can be classified in 2 ways. Number 1, according to purpose or function, and number 2, according to structure. So we have looked at sentence types according to purpose or function. Now we are going to look at 4 sentence types by structure. We are going to look at the complexity levels of sentences. Understanding the construction of clauses, independent and dependent, is key to mastering complex English. Is looked at, each sentence type is viewed according to the type or types of clauses they contain. Let's now begin with the simple sentence. A simple sentence contains only one independent clause. It contains only one independent clause, and it has one subject and one verb. For example, she reads books. This is an independent clause, but when you write an independent clause down and put a full stop, it becomes a simple sentence. It expresses one idea. It contains one clause. The second one is the compound sentence. A compound sentence combines two independent clauses, usually joined by a coordinating conjunction. Those coordinating conjunctions are those conjunctions that can be summarized with the acronym FANBOYS. F stands for A and, N no, B but, O or, Y yet, S so. Fanboys. This helps you to understand the coordinating conjunctions. Now, we have to look at the compound clause. It combines 2 or more independent clauses, but I want you to look at a compound clause as combining just 2 independent clauses, because there's another type of sentence that many scholars classify as multiple sentences, multiple sentence, when it is more than two independent clauses. In our English class at university, we would often hear the lecturer give an example with that notable historical statement: I came, I saw, I conquered, joined with a semicolon. But here, we are going to restrict ourselves to the definition of a compound sentence as combining two independent clauses. For example, she reads books and he writes stories. She reads books is clause number one, independent clause number one. He writes stories is independent clause number two. And the coordinating conjunction here is and. She reads books and he writes stories. She reads books and he writes stories. Number three, we have the complex sentence. The complex sentence contains one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses joined by a subordinating conjunction. For example, she reads books because she loves stories. She reads books because she loves stories. She reads books is the independent clause because is a subordinating conjunction which begins the dependent clause. Another name for dependent clause is subordinate clause. Well, when I was talking about independent clause, I should have told you that another name for the independent clause is the main clause. Subordinate clause is dependent clause. She reads books is the main clause or the independent clause because she loves stories is the subordinate clause, which we call the dependent clause. It's called dependent clause because it cannot stand on its own. It cannot stand alone like the independent clause. You can say she reads books and put a full stop, but you cannot say because she loves stories and then you put a full stop. No, because she loves stories, comma, she reads books. You see, so this because she loves stories cannot stand alone. When it is joined to an independent clause, it forms the complex sentence. Now, this brings us to the last, at least in this lesson, but not the least, which is the compound complex sentence. This sentence type is the most intricate structure, and it contains at least two independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. For example, she reads books and he writes stories because they enjoy literature. She reads books and he writes stories because they enjoy literature. She reads books is independent clause number one, and he writes stories is independent clause number two. Because they enjoy literature is the dependent clause. So a compound complex sentence contains one compound sentence combined with a subordinate or dependent clause. She reads books and he writes stories is a compound sentence. Because they enjoy literature is a dependent clause, which will join to a compound sentence to form the compound complex sentence. Now, let's look at the English sentence key components. To build with confidence, you must know your materials. Every sentence is constructed from these core rules. Now, let's begin to look at them, the components, the key components of the sentence. So here we want to look at the sentence structure. The first component is the subject. The subject is the person, place, or thing that the sentence is about, who or what is performing the action, or who or what is being spoken about. The second component, key component of the sentence, is the verb. And the verb is about the action being performed or the state of being. For example, is, was, feel. The action being performed or the state of being. This helps to complete the thought. The doer of the action is the subject. The action done is the verb, and actually that completes the thought. Then the next component, key component of the sentence is the object. The object receives the action of the verb. This component is crucial but often optional depending on the verb, because we have action verbs, we have being verbs, and an action verb most of the time requires an object. Then we have the complement. The complement is usually an adjective or a noun or phrases that describe the subject. For example, if you say Messi is a footballer. A footballer is a noun phrase that, completes the meaning of Messi is. If you write or say Messi is, then someone will ask you a question, is what? The complement is what actually describes the subject. Now, let's go back a little to the object. An example is Messi scored a goal. Messi scored a goal. Messi is the subject. Scored is the action verb. A goal is the object. So when you say Messi scored a goal, then of course you have subject, verb, objects, SVO. But when you say Messi is a footballer, in terms of complement now, then you have subject, verb, complement, SV. Now, the next component, key component of the sentence is what we call the adjunct. The adjunct refers to adverbs or adverbials that describe actions and qualities. For example, if you say, Mary sang melodiously. Or when you say, she sang melodiously. She sang melodiously. Melodiously is an adjunct. It tells us how she sang. Melodiously describes the action. Or if you say, she sang at the assembly is an adjunct. It's an adjunct of place. An adjunct of place tells us where the singing took place. She sang melodiously at the assembly this morning. So you can see she is the subject, sang is the verb, but the other three components are all adjuncts. She sang how? Melodiously. Where? At the assembly. When? This morning. So that's what the adjunct does. Let's look at an example. The quick brown fox. This is the subject of this sentence. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Now, look at it. The quick brown fox is the subject. Jumps is the verb. The lazy dog is supposed to be the object. But the fact that we already have over here, then of course you have an adjunct already within this particular example. We can reframe it. The quick brown fox attacked the lazy dog. When we remove over here, then we have a direct object. The quick brown fox, which is the subject, attacked, which is the verb, the lazy dog, which is the object. So moving further, let's now quickly look at, how to build sentences confidently. Foundation first. You need to start with the foundation. Begin with the simplest structure. Subject plus verb plus object. Begin with SVO types of sentences. Then start with core vocabulary. Don't bite more than you can chew. That's exactly what we are talking about here. Start with core vocabulary. Focus on using words you know well. Accuracy is more important than impressive vocabulary in the early stages. When you are a beginner, make sure you start, with the foundation first. Start with, subject plus verb plus object. Ensure that you get that correctly. And then start with core vocabulary. Don't dabble into big words that you may not be able to use correctly. Start with the simple that you can use correctly, the simple words you can use correctly. Then master word order. This is important. Now, word order is really, really important in sentence construction. English is rigid. You need to follow the subject, verb, object, SVO pattern consistently. That's the correct word order for English. Then we look at the layer complexity. Once the foundation is solid, you can gradually add modifiers, adjectives, adverbs, and then dependent clauses, okay? You can now go from the simple to the compound to the complex. Active repetition. Practice by speaking, writing, and repeating sentences daily in order to build muscle memory and fluency. This is really important. Practice by speaking, writing, and repeating sentences daily to build muscle memory and fluency. This is a good strategy for building sentences confidently. Now let's look at common mistakes you need to avoid. Learning to spot common errors accelerates your language acquisition and improves clarity. What do you do first? Avoid pronoun confusion. Ensure you use objective pronouns such as me, him, her for objects, and use subjective pronouns for subjects like I, he, she. That's really important. Now, let's look at some examples. He gave me the book. This is correct. Now, incorrect. He gave I the book. This is incorrect. So take note of these examples. Number 2, subject-verb agreement. The verb form must match the subject in number in terms of singular subjects, needing singular verbs, plural subjects needing plural verbs. This is what we call subject-verb agreements. For example, she runs fast. This is correct because you have a singular subject, she, and a singular verb, runs. But when you say she runs fast, this is incorrect because you have a singular subject, she, with a plural verb, run. That makes it incorrect. Then, question word order. In questions, the auxiliary verbs or a form of to be must precede the subject. The auxiliary verb comes first when asking questions. For example, are you ready? This is correct. It is incorrect to say you are ready. Grammar exercises identifying sentence purpose. Test your understanding of the 4 sentence types by purpose, that is declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. Number 1, can you help me? What type of sentence is this? Number 2, close the door. Number 3, I enjoy learning English. Number 4, what a surprise. Now, pause for a while and then try to figure out what sentence type is each of these. Now, let's have the answers. Number 1, can you help me? Is an interrogative sentence because it asks a question. Number 2, close the door is an imperative sentence because it gives a command. Number 3, I enjoy learning English is a declarative sentence because it makes a statement. And number 4, what a surprise is an exclamatory sentence because it expresses strong emotion. Now, this brings us to grammar exercise, sentence structure practice. Combine these 2 ideas into a single complex sentence using a subordinating conjunction such as because, although, if, when, etc. Okay? Idea number 1, she studies hard. She studies hard. Idea number 2, she wants to pass the exam. Now let's look at an example answer. When we combine these 2 ideas, we can have, for example, she studies hard because she wants to pass the exam. This is a complex sentence. This complex structure clearly shows the cause and effect between the two sections. Now, your path to mastering English sentences. Understand the blueprints. You need to grasp the basics of sentence structure, types, and components. You need to communicate boldly. In this case, speak and write daily to translate knowledge into confident application. Practice building. Start simple and systematically increase complexity with each phrase. Reinforce learning. Use targeted exercises and self-correction to solidify new patterns. Start today and watch your English skills grow. In summing up, this is where we draw the curtains on today's lesson. If you found this lesson helpful, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more English lessons. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you won't miss new videos the moment they are uploaded on this channel. Thanks for watching and see you in the next class.